Okay, so we're back on our big block Chevy heads. Where we left off in the previous vid, we got all the machining done, and we had to replace the one casting, and we're just in the process of making everything equal. We're going to assemble them today. We're going to go through all the procedures of setting up the spring heights and stuff like that. We're going to CC them. We're going to mill one head to bring the CCs down to the size of the other ones, but we got to assemble them and measure them first, then unassemble them, mill it, and put it back together. So that's our goal for today. By the end of the day, we'll have these heads done, installed on the engine, and on to the next phase. Okay, so next thing we have to do is we have to find our valve installed heights. That is measuring from the spring, pocket, seat, whatever you want to call it, to the retainer. And this is easy to do. There are many different ways of doing it. I'll show you a few of them, then I'll show you how I do it. I just assemble it without the spring. Give it a good pull and twist because you want everything seated. You don't want this retainer rocking on there when you're trying to measure it, okay? Now, they make a set of mics that you put in where the spring goes. You rotate it out, you read the mic, it gives you your height. I find we have them. We rarely use them. We find them, they're just way too time consuming, and I can get a more accurate measurement. This is the quickest way, I believe, the easiest way, the cheapest way, and the most repeatable way. Get yourself a caliper. Doesn't have to be fancy. This one happens to be a digital one. That's just because that's what I found. You always, on your caliper, you have this little bar that screws across here that holds it all together. And then here is your depth gauge. So what I do is I measure the thickness of this bar from here to here, and then I machine that much off of the depth gauge part. So all I have to do now is I just simply go in here, I just pull this out, I hook that on the retainer, pull my caliper out, that hooks on there, the depth gauge hooks on the bottom. It's that fast. It's that easy. Yeah, that's how we do them. Anyways, we've done them all. Our measurements are all documented here. This is how crazy I get about making everything the same. Our intakes are 1980 to 1986. So we have a difference of 6 thousandths, which is minimal. My exhaust is 1975 to 1980, so we have a difference of 5 thou on the exhaust. So now what we do is we look at the information that comes with our springs. In this case, it's 1.80. And at that point, you're supposed to have 121 pounds of seat pressure. We always double check all of our springs. Even if they're new, there could be a faulty spring in there. Who knows? So here's my spring tester here. I've done a modification on my own. I added the caliper in here. Makes it so much easier to read, rather than trying to measure it and then duplicate that. I just made a little tab to hold it there. The weight holds it down. It works really well. The spring installed height is 1.80 1.80. I think I said 1980s earlier, sorry. 1.80. We have to add the 60 thou for the thickness of our retainer. So we're still compressing the spring to 198 or 1.80. I just about did it again. And there we are. I don't know if you can see that. A little bit over 130 pounds. That's not unusual for them to be like that. And we just check each and every one of them. And what I do now is I'll adjust my little stop here. And then I can just grab each one, go to the stop, and we'll do that with all 16. We're not going to bore you with that. Okay. Get a good quality assembly lube. Get a good bit on your stem. Work it around. Take your nozzle tip, whatever you want to call it. Just get a little bit of that on the edge of that guide and get it to slide down inside the guide there. All these parts have been meticulously cleaned. Just because they're new parts doesn't mean they're clean. Your valves, your springs, your retainers, keepers, everything. You have to wash that stuff. So one of the things I'm doing here now is the way I grind my seats to the depth, the way I grind my valves, you can swap any valve in any location and the height will stay the same. I grind my seats exactly to the correct equal depth on both heads. My valves, when I grind the 45, I have the exact same margin on all of them. Plus I also have a gauge that I set the valve into and I measure from the face of the valve to the base of the gauge to ensure that I have consistency. I think I've mentioned it before, maybe not, so I'm going to mention it again now. I mean, we're not building stock engines here, right? And so these are going to go in a drag race car. They're going to go in a boat. These were from a boat, but they could end up in a drag race car, a drag and drive. Maybe you're not doing big block Chevy heads. Maybe you're doing small block Chevy heads, and they're going to end up in an oval race car, oval track car. Something happens. You had a drag and drive event, and you have to pull the engine down for some reason. You don't have to worry about getting anything mixed up. You can put it all back together in whatever order and fashion it is. If you drop your shims, you don't have to, I'm not going to have a 60 thou shim here and a 60 thou and a 15 thou shim here and a 30 thou shim here, for instance. If you have to work on these heads yourself, everything is equal. It just goes back together that way. Now, also, because our spring installed height is 1.80, we have to shim, and this is not uncommon on a big block Chevy, we have to shim 170 thou in the pockets to have the proper spring tension. So these, I cut myself on my plasma table. These are 120 thou thick. They're made out of H-11, super hard material. We're going to use them, and then we're going to use a 60 thou, and that's going to give us exactly our 180. So, and these shims that you buy from VSI, they're super hard, they're super strong, they're good and reliable. If you have enough spring pressure. If you run your car your heads without enough spring pressure, that spring will move around. It will eat your spring seat because of the soft cast iron. Very important. You have to follow these recommendations. And we're going to pop a couple seals on there. And then we always put just a little dab of oil on the top of each one of our valves, because then when we slide our little seal on there, it's going to put that nice little pocket of oil, trap that in there for that engine when she first fires up.